Good morning. I want to talk about preaching the gospel. And, I've talked about this a few times before, but it's worth talking about it every once in a while, at least. A lot of people, they think that, I'm talking about people who are actually saved, okay? A lot of brothers and sisters, they think that their personality in and of itself, is like a hindrance for them preaching the gospel, or they think they have like some sort of physical fault or even like some sort of moral fault. And look, when it comes to moral faults, like we all have moral faults. Like, if you base morality on what God said, we all come short. We've all sinned and come short of the glory of God. And your personality, or maybe you think some people think they're not the best speakers, or they're just introverts, and let me tell you something. I'm not the best speaker, and I'm beyond introvert. I'm pretty antisocial, and I'm still able to preach the gospel, even effectively, And to me, all glory goes to God. Like, it's not. If it wasn't for God, we wouldn't even know necessarily what to say. Like, we'd probably think it'd be too awkward or something. And then there's what I like to personally call divine appointments, where God sets up some scenario in your life where you're able to preach the gospel to somebody. And a lot of times that somebody you have the opportunity to preach the gospel to, they wouldn't listen to a better speaker. Or, a more mature Christian or whatever. Or a lot of people think pastors are like professionals, right? And a lot of Christians who aren't pastors, they think that a pastor would be better at preaching the gospel to somebody. And sometimes Christians think that pastors in that sense would command more respect or something. But that's not necessarily true. I mean, I've seen people that, for example, like a lot of pastors, especially in more of the West, they sort of dress up more formal and stuff, right? And some people are just kind of intimidated by that. Some people, if they have, if they're in a sleeveless t-shirt and they got some mustard stains on it, and they got tattoos on their neck and all over their their arms and stuff, like sleeves, and sometimes people like that, they're kind of intimidated to talk to somebody who's clean cut and wearing a suit or something. with a tie. And, I mean, I know a lot of times in my life where I've seen it, where like I would dress more casually, and I would go out evangelizing with somebody that would dress more formally. And sometimes people who were dressed formally would rather talk to the guy who's dressed formally, right? And other times people that were not dressed formally would prefer talking to me, because they felt like I could, I guess, be more level with them or something. They didn't feel as intimidated. And look, it's pretty amazing that, you know, God chooses us to give the gospel, right? You know, us imperfect people. But, you know, he trusts us to give the gospel to people. It's quite an honor, but it also really is amazing. Because, I mean, you know, God could have used other methods. You know, if he wanted to, he could just have the gospel appear in the clouds, like in every language all over the world at the same time, you know. But he feels it's better that if we give it to people. It's just sometimes it boggles my mind, but it's true. He wants sinners to tell other sinners about the God that forgives sins. And it seems pretty simple putting it in those terms. And, you know, like, yeah, the gospel is simple. Thank God. Okay. And, I'm gonna have to stop this video soon anyways. I'm gonna give somebody a ride. I'm almost at the person's house. But anyways, if you're saved, you know, don't feel like just because you have some tattoo, or maybe you have mustard on your shirt, you can still give the gospel to people. Okay? Maybe you're stutter, you know. Stutter the gospel to people for the glory of God. Or maybe you're so clean cut you look like a Mormon. But at least thank God you actually believe the gospel, because you're not a Mormon. You're an actual Christian. But, you know, maybe if some Mormon thinks that you look like a Mormon, they'll feel more comfortable talking to you or something, and then you actually give them the real gospel. And at least plant the seed. Okay. Because they're not hearing that at the Mormon church. Anyways, I gotta go.